Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast, because Joey Janela always goes in raw.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Stephen Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And whoa, back up.
And Larson, young boy Larson, Quizzlemania second runner-up, Larson.
Man, I was cheering you on. We had all sorts of friendos in the chat room there, 5,000 large. I don't know if they're all friendos, but a good portion of them were in there cheering you on, trying to get you that moral support. And I think third place is pretty darn good.
Well, considering the situation I was going to like the last 3 rounds, third place, I'm satisfied with that.
I was wondering if you were digging a hole for yourself intentionally so that you can like see the I know you're very competitive, and I want to see if maybe you were like, hey, I'm going to see if I can really get myself out of a giant hole.
Yeah, I'm competitive, but I just like to win the whole time.
You're competitive, but just you don't want any tension or drama. You just want it.
I want the comfort of knowing that I'm like winning the whole time.
Right, exactly.
I don't want any drama. I don't want any tension. Like it's that, man. Like the 20 questions one I mentioned to you before we started is like a pure panic attack the whole time.
Yeah,
it's so tense. And like me, I kind of have a little bit of social anxiety just to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be on there. I want to represent Going in Raw well. I don't make an ass of myself. I don't want to embarrass myself and therefore our brand. So I wasn't as relaxed as I probably could have been.
Yeah.
That being said, that segment in particular.
Oh wow.
Tough. And everybody before you start, oh my gosh, this is just pure anxiety. I'm like, what have I got myself into?
The one part that I completely related to, well, on any of those things was when Ollie said, when he was sitting there, it was right before he said Dolph Ziggler. By the way, we're talking about Quizzlemania. It's the amazing wrestling quiz show that Larson guested on today over at Parts Fun Known. Go check it out. Go sub, because I think definitely. They do this every Wednesday. Hopefully I'll get a shot at it at some point.
Arguably the highlight of my day when I drew Mae Young giving birth to Hand.
That was classic. That was amazing. That was good stuff. So Larson was on there today. He came in third place, but I thought he had, especially in the later rounds, he had a really good showing.
I got more comfortable. I calmed down. I got more comfortable.
Yeah, totally. And so that's what we're talking about. But Ollie was sitting there, and it was in the 20 questions one, and he's sitting there, and he says, I literally am drawing a blank on any wrestler. He couldn't think, and that's gonna be me if I ever get on the show. For everything. They're gonna show I'm a pretty decent artist. They're gonna bust out a freaking thing that I'm never even heard of.
I know.
So I don't know, man. It was a blast though. You should. I think it's live, right? I think the VOD of it is still live, so you can check that out. It was really good. But anyways, we're here to talk about All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Empty arena, save for they brought in some of these. I'm assuming Nightmare Factory kids.
Yeah, seems that way.
Yeah, they were them, and of course a couple of the Rudos and Technicos there were also lining the behind the barriers there, barricades there. I thought it was like probably the most entertaining first half of a Dynamite since they've been doing the empty arena stuff. The second half, not as much, but it was still overall a pretty fun show.
I think if they had found, I understand why they had kind of fattened it up a little bit with some more talkie pieces. I get that because they shot, enough stuff to get them through end of May, maybe. So they got to fill these episodes out with some talking head pieces. So I get that. I just felt like they kind of went to the Moxley Hager well a bit too much. That being said, I know they're building up to the title match next week. It's obvious they really want to get an audience in for that. They're really trying to develop the story of it. There was some interesting bits. One segment seemed like it probably would have been enough. 2, double dipping that much, a bit too much. But I thought apart from that, apart from that and the weird ending of the main event, I thought it was all pretty fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Well, okay, let's do this though. We'll get to that when we get to that, because I kind of feel like the main event was there. It was a good match. It was a good match.
Yeah.
Nothing really out of the ordinary, with the exception of the actual last move. But let's talk about what's more interesting about last night. It all happened in the first half hour, or in the first half of the show. Two things. Number one, we got Le Champion for commentary.
Oh man!
And
so
the
good.
combo of him and Schiavone was absolutely amazing. I was entertained the entire time by him.
He's been calling Tony Schiavone Schiavone for 20 plus years, and I still pop every time.
Don't you love that? Don't you absolutely
so good.
adore that these guys, that Jericho, man, who would have thought, like, if you have one answer for who's like the LeBron James of wrestling, it's got to be Jericho, right? Because he does everything, and he does everything so good. And like time and time again, he just reminds us, like, he was such a pivotal pickup for AEW. He brings such a confidence, and the dude fills everything. He fills legacy. He fills history. He also feels he fills relevance for today. Like, he's still completely and totally relevant. He could step back in the WWE and instantly be a challenger.
Yeah.
But like the level of comfortability he has with Tony Schiavone, and Tony was simply tickled the entire time.
Yeah.
My God, it was amazing. And I was, he started off, and yeah, some of the one-liners, I know you're thinking of them right now. Some of the one-liners were absolutely hilarious.
It was that fork one that got me.
You know what they'll find on me? They might find a fork. I'll cut a bitch with a fork.
I'll pull a fork and cut a bitch. That's what he said.
Oh, God. And then Schiavone started chuckling and said, yeah, you'll cut a bit. Okay. He was going to repeat what he said. Oh, man. That
was so good. Gosh, that killed me. That got me.
Here's the thing about Jericho that I find endlessly entertaining. The thing about Jericho, still to this day, when you listen to his podcast or if you read any of his books, he is, and this is especially, it goes to especially last week with his really silly Vanguard 1 segment when he's in the jacuzzi, the hot tub with his leather pants on.
Yeah.
He revels and loves the absurd nature of wrestling.
Well, he understands pro wrestling at its core is a ridiculous enterprise and embraces it.
Yeah. More than anybody else at his level.
Contrast him. That's not to say he doesn't take the craft of pro wrestling seriously, because obviously he does.
Are you about to run down Bret Hart?
Yeah. Contrast that with Bret Hart, who seemingly takes everything about pro wrestling seriously. And if he recognizes the ridiculous nature of it, disregards that, or he doesn't realize that pro wrestling is inherently ridiculous.
Yeah. I wonder how much their career paths had to do with that stuff, though, because Bret's been through a lot.
Even before the Montreal Screwjob stuff, he took everything way too seriously.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he just
totally
took it very
did.
seriously.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't disagree with any of that. But Jericho, he always loves talking about, like, whenever he talks about some of his angles that he's run in wrestling or stuff that he's seen in wrestling, he'll always chuckle at the absurdist nature of some of this stuff. And so he loved the stuff where he's trying to get Vanguard 1 to join the inner circle. And this week, he had a DDT Pro match to basically... That's basically what it was, that tag match. It was so DDT Pro. And he was popping for everything. He was eating it up. It seemed like I wonder if this dude, if he was born 20 years later, if he would have got his start, if he would have taken the Kenny Omega route and did a really heavy DDT Pro, run.
Entirely possible. The sense of humor that Chris Jericho has is his willingness to embrace the absurd and the ridiculous when it comes to pro wrestling. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see him out floating on a little barge in the middle of some body of water trying to have a match.
Yeah.
Go-karts in an office building, all those things, and loving every second of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a guy who embraces everything about wrestling. He even referenced Kenny Omega having a match with an 8-year-old and with a blow-up doll. Mm-hmm. He talked about that stuff. It's
probably the only time within a pro wrestling show you'll hear the word hentai.
Right, exactly. Man, and then I thought that was endlessly amusing. And then let's talk about the other big sort of oh my god moment was Britt Baker and just being bathed in the blood coming down from her nose, and the visuals that we got there. And my god, like we've all seen this develop over the past couple months, how she's turned this I'm a dentist thing on its head and used it. Let me ask you this, man, but so fast forward us. Do you think it's the right move? They're really pushing Shida, obviously with this victory over Britt Baker.
Yeah.
To be the person who, I don't know if she's going to take the title off of
at the very least. At the very least, she's going to challenge next. Yeah.
She's going to challenge next. And maybe, but Britt Baker, when they get back in front of crowds, this is going to be one of those things, dude, where people love her so much, she can try to be a bad guy all she wants. It ain't going to work. And I can see her taking that title off Nyla Rose right now. I have no idea. I don't even know where she is in the standings. Is she like, at this point, isn't she like sixth in the standings or something?
They ran the standings during the show. Excalibur did a rundown, a sleepy sounding Excalibur. And I think at the time she was fourth, but obviously that was before her match tonight.
Do you remember who was, wasn't fifth Riho?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Shida, Statlander, Yuka, Britt, and then the Riho.
Okay. All right. But I mean, look, they can resolve that at any time. But man, I thought that if any time was the right time to sort of call an audible, and I don't know, maybe it's just because it's early and maybe because they prefer just to keep on building this thing. But man, like Britt, I don't know. That was such a great performance.
It really was. The match was really good.
That bit where she had to get the glove from the ref, that cost her basically the finish.
That was so good.
Dude, like, was that had to have been improvised, right?
No, I don't know. I think the nature of going to the glove, I thought that was more a reference to the ongoing
that's a good point.
Virus thing.
That's a really good point.
She is a medical professional.
That's a really good point.
If anybody involved should take those kind of precautions, it would be her. That's why I took a reference to more so than the blood.
You're probably right. But the blood made that though. Like in my head, I was like, oh, she has to do this because of the blood, and the ref is telling her, you can't do this.
That definitely enhances. I mean, like some well-timed, planned or unplanned blood really enhances the story being told. It really enhances.
For sure.
Interview after the fact when what was the question she was asked? Because it was really good.
But to me, that was easily, and there was some good matches tonight. That was easily match of the night. Maybe.
It was really good. Yeah,
like that's been the best match I've seen in a while.
Yeah. So later on, she did an interview and she was asked if Shida lived up to her ranking, and Britt goes, "No, Shida's not a role model like I'm a role model." Says Shida's the dirtiest wrestler I've ever been in the ring with. He says she better be thankful she didn't touch my teeth. And then she takes a really good pause.
Yeah, right.
And then she goes, "But even if she did, I could fix them myself because I'm a dentist." And then she walks off.
And her delivery was so good. It was so good. I was like, man, like you can always chart when people take a next step. And it's like, man, if you had this in front of a crowd, this was a pay-per-view level match that we got.
It was really good, yeah.
And even like with AEW, when they have their pay-per-views every quarter, this could have fit perfectly on one of those pay-per-views.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the top, easily one of the top 5 women's matches they've had in AEW thus far.
For sure. And that promo was really good stuff. She has managed to take that she's a dentist thing and flip it on its head so that she can use it in the most entertaining manner. She's terrific. She's absolutely terrific. Like,
I will say this, that as you mentioned earlier, it would have made sense. It would have been totally believable for them to call an audible here or have Baker go into this match and beat Shida. I appreciate they're taking their time with it.
Yeah.
Because I would anticipate her taking losses while doing all this. He said if this was in front of a crowd, she'd be over huge. It's going to have a payoff in some respect.
Yeah.
But because of that, because she's doing so well on the mic, so well on the character stuff, and yet losing, I'm really curious to see where this is going to go because I don't know.
Yeah.
She could have a breaking point. Is she going to snap even more?
Yeah.
And that will eventually lead her to victory, or how is she going to get back to her winning ways? I mean, there's so many different avenues they can take to get there. I'm invested and interested to find out how they do it.
Yeah, me too. She lights up. It's so funny too because like we saw her like 2 matches in NXT. Was she in the Mae Young Classic?
No,
she wasn't.
I don't.
She
believe
just
so.
had like a couple of.
I remember one.
Oh no!
She had
Somebody said
NXT.
I saw on Twitter. Somebody said that she had a dark match at Mae Young 2 at the.
okay.
At one of those tapings, and that it was terrific. So yeah, dude. I don't know, man. It just goes to show, like, you know, if you got the right people around you, like, you know, offering up the right suggestions.
Yep.
Or if they're giving you the freedom to do it yourself, whichever one it is, or if it's a combination of both.
Could very well be a combination of both. Yeah.
You can, you know, it's
and
a
it's also
star-making thing.
It also speaks to the opportunity that she's obviously gotten to get in front of cameras, get in front of a crowd, and try things.
Yeah, for
And that's
sure.
probably something she never really had an opportunity to do on this type of scale.
Yeah.
At this level. You know, obviously she's wrestled in front of some decent crowds before, but I don't really know how much character work she really got to do wrestling in the the various companies I'm sure she wrestled with throughout the years.
Yeah.
This might be her first real opportunity to explore. Okay, who do I want to be as Britt Baker, the character?
It definitely feels that way. Because I think, I remember I always, like, you know, her reputation was always, hey, she's a pretty good wrestler. But, like, beyond that, like, you know, you don't really know much more. It's just, hey, this is somebody to keep an eye on. And then she had, like, a couple matches in NXT. And it's like, oh, are they going to do anything with that? And then she goes to AEW. And then even then, at first, it was like, man, you know, she was probably going to, you know, we all thought that she was going to be the person who was, you know, really focused on. And then, and she wasn't. Then she had that first awkward, like, promo on the beach thing, the Bash of the Beach thing.
Yeah.
But then after that, it was off and running, and it was really great stuff.
So she only started wrestling in 2015, or she made a debut in 2015.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
She actually had episode. She was in a squash match against Nia Jax on Raw in 2016.
Oh wow, my goodness.
And then December 2015, she became the inaugural IWC Women's Champion.
Here in our Twitch chat, by the way, we do these things live on Twitch. T-Money Belvedere said, did it seem like they did the commentary in post? I don't ever recall actually seeing them. That's very possible. I saw that on Twitter,
I don't know,
too.
because there was that one point in the main event, I think, when Jericho was running. Maybe it's just a testament to his immense skills, where he was yelling at Spears, and it sounded like he got out of his chair, and you could hear him because I was listening with earbuds. So maybe if you listen to it just through TV, you don't notice this. I don't know. Where it sounds like his head was kind of away from his headset somewhat, but also it sounded like the camera mics were picking him up yelling. There was one shot of them sitting at the booth together.
Yeah.
They
I
just
don't
never
know.
showed it during the show.
I have no idea. But I don't know. I'll put it this way: if they were, I had no idea. I did not know. It didn't at all. The only thing I can point to is the one bit where Jericho is yelling at Britt when she turns to the camera and starts dropping a promo mid-match. She's like, Tony, can you? And the thing, like, she looked to the camera and said, Tony, and then Jericho started yelling, hey, watch out. And then he said, she can't hear me. You'd think if they were at their normal position, like, maybe he meant over the Nightmare kids that were there.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
At that point,
I just took that as a gag. Like
yeah.
she's talking to camera, and then he's like, well, it was like I could hear Tony. So I thought it was more about the gag was they couldn't communicate with her. Maybe I misremember that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I just took that as a gag.
I didn't it's possible. Sort of quibbling about nothing though.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's kick this thing off. It started with a Jake Roberts Pro Caesar.
Hail Caesar.
And he's like,
it was really good.
He's like, are you a man, Cody, or a mouse?
I love that bit. He was like, I feel like Cody's taking the L tonight. So you don't have to face Archer. Cody, are you a man or a mouse? It's time to squeak up.
Feel like you're taking the L. After that, we had, in fact, Lance Archer, Jake Roberts is his client, versus Alan Angels. Jericho kept on getting his name wrong, right?
Oh, that's a classic Jericho thing, man.
Oh, God, that was good. He called him, what did he call him? Alan Angles at some point.
Yeah.
And a couple other things. Oh, man, this is good. Anyways, this wasn't really a match. Lance Archer just threw Alan Angels across the ring with like an overhead choke slam.
That was crazy. Jericho marked out about that.
Yeah, he did. He said, what was that? And then Archer hits his finish, the blackout, for the win. Easy victory for Archer. When is that Colt Cabana match? The next week?
I think it's next week. Yeah, next week we're getting Mox and Hager, and then that match, I believe.
Okay, cool. That'll be good stuff. After that, we had the aforementioned Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida match. And this is a killer match, dude.
And it's like all the character work Britt was doing that was kind of more low key. She hits a famouser, and Billy Gunn's sitting there ringside with his kid.
Yeah,
and she just stares at him for a beat before going to get to make the cover.
Yeah, there was all that stuff. Her talking to the camera, all that stuff was great.
It all adds up. And like before she started talking to the camera, she was sitting on the apron after she like stretched Shida a bit and was just talking trash to her.
Right.
All these, and it's like Shida's great. Like in ring, she is great.
Yeah, she's terrific.
I just wish she had more opportunity to show off more of her character, some more of her personality.
Yeah, dude. It goes back. We had this conversation on the Raw review. In ring is great. You got to have something. You got to have something to grab onto. And right now, I look at these two people. I'm like, if I didn't know what the rankings were, if this was my first episode of AEW, I would be shocked that Shida won this match, because I'm like, well, there's one person who is she's obviously a terrific wrestler, and that's great. But the other person is being given all the chances to do character stuff. And I understand exactly who she is. Yeah.
So a lot of great back and forth this match. There's tons of fun. Let's go to the rubber glove bit that you mentioned. So they're at this point, Britt's busted open. She's bleeding out her nose.
Yeah.
They're in the ring. They're trading forearms. Oh, this is when she gets busted open, actually. Shida hits the enziguri. Britt responds with a super kick, and she kind of lowers her head. She raises up, and there's blood pouring out of her nose.
Yeah.
Great image.
Yeah.
We get some more back and forth. Shida hits a Falcon Arrow that gets a 2. Britt reverses into a roll-up, gets a 2, and then she goes right into a lockjaw. She has the Rings of Saturn aspect of it put on. She wants to get the Mandible Claw on, so she asks the ref for a glove. And so she's there trying to put it on, and that gives Shida an opportunity to roll her up. Britt kicks out. Shida follows with the Shining Wizard. There's some more back and forth, but ultimately they're jockeying for position up at the top rope. Shida drops Britt across the top turnbuckle, follows with the Shining Wizard to get the win.
Yeah. We'll get to her awesome promo a little bit later, but after that we had Kenny Omega and his best friend Michael Nakazawa backstage. This was really good stuff. It never ceases to make me laugh that Kenny Omega could probably be in contention or maybe even top WWE champion right now, but he would rather be booking comedy matches in AEW.
Yep.
That is amazing. That's so funny. So they're in a trailer, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking to Nakazawa, and he's like, man, we had a really good... I also love, by the way, that the tag team champion, one of the tag team champions, is now setting up another tag team for himself.
And he wants to name it.
And he wants to... They don't even have a name for the one with him and Hangman Page. I mean, I guess they're the Elite, whatever. They don't call them
faction,
that.
Though. No.
They don't call him that. So he's like, yeah, we made a really good team in DDT, but we need a name. And Nakazawa says, well, Kenny, you and I, we're the best friends. That's what we should be called, best friends. And he's like, well, go ahead.
Okay. But we already have a team named Best Friends, and they're well established.
Yeah, but
he's laying out the bona fides why they should be, hold on to that name.
Right, they're a really popular act here in AEW. He's like, yeah, but you're an EVP and we're best friends, so you should make it happen.
He said, you should change it.
You should change it.
And then out of the bathroom of the trailer walks Orange Cassidy.
Right.
And Kenny realized, like, oh gosh, he might have heard all that. And so he lets Chuck and Trent in, and they come in and is like, we heard it all. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You think you're better friends than us? You think you're the best friends? Fine. We'll have a match, and the best friends is on the line. The name of best friends will be on the line. We'll find out who the best friends are.
Oh, it was so good.
And then Kenny says, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
This dude would rather be, and who could blame him, man, palling around with his friends?
Well, also, too, he's taken, quite a beating in his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way he wrestles, the physical style he employs, I get the sense that maybe he's starting to feel a little beat up.
He's getting too old for this shit, man.
Yeah, that's why I think that comes from.
So, like you said before, Sleepy Excalibur after that went through the AEW power rankings, rolled out of bed,
I almost thought it was a situation where we had that mic where Kevin Nash was obviously doing Goldberg's voice. I said it was Excalibur with the power rankings. I'm like, the first couple words didn't sound anything like Excalibur.
Right. Yeah,
It sounded like he just got up from a nap.
Until you said that it was Excalibur, I didn't know that it was him. I didn't really pay attention. I was like, okay, power rankings, who cares?
It was like Excalibur ASMR. That's what it sounded like.
Right. After that, we had the first of 2 Mox Hager video packages. My favorite part of these was Hager and his wife talking about how, yeah, you know, we have a saying in this family: if you don't win, don't come home. And I'm like, that's the most Ricky Bobby thing I've ever heard.
I know.
You know, he's like, my dad always said, if you aren't in first, you're in last. And then later on, you see Gary Cole as his dad, and he says, that's ridiculous, Bobby. There's second place, third place, fourth place. I never said that.
That'd be funny if his wife said that and he went to cut to Hager and he's like not saying that at all.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know. See, okay, so I think that's what this, and I understand the point. I understand that they're trying to build this to like be a fight, right?
Yeah.
But every time they've done one of these packages, like when they did this kind of thing for the Young Bucks versus Omega and Hangman, they had the tension. They also had a little bit of comedy in it. They had a little bit of the levity, and I kind of feel like that's what these were missing. Like you needed, and I don't need it to be. I know they're trying to build a fight, but man, it's okay to have a little bit of levity. Like throw Sammy Guevara in there for a second, and he'll say something funny.
Oh, like the previous one. The one they did prior to this, they had, I think all the members of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, totally.
Ortiz, Sammy was in it. Jericho
was in it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because I know Mox can be funny. I don't know about Hager. This was completely and totally mirthless.
Hey, I mean, Hager, he did he's been in packages where he's been funny before, and largely it's just him being silent.
Yeah, it's him not talking.
But there's some body language comedy there.
Yeah.
Like he gets
totally.
it.
So early on, Mox says he and Hager are in the business putting smiles on people's faces. In fact, Hager clarifies further, calls himself a prize fighter. He says he just wants a title because that means money. He wants to provide for his family. He goes on several times about how much his family has sacrificed so he can achieve his level of success. And that's when Hager's wife enters, says, you come home a winner, you don't come home at all. And then Hager mentions that he was supposed to have a Bellator fight in May 9th, which hadn't been announced yet.
Okay.
So he says he has been in fight camp for weeks. And then his trainer says, yeah, once he wins the AEW title, then Bellator is next. And the kind of, especially this first one, they were talking about how unprecedented it was that someone would simultaneously be competing in MMA while also pro wrestling. Pretty sure Dan Severn did that 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, he did it like legitimately at like the top level. He wasn't being fed a bunch of punks like Hager has been.
Yeah. And so Mox mentions where Hager no sold the paradigm shift. He called that a humbling moment, but it says it's no holds barred. It's empty arena. Changes the game for Hager. And Mox says he'll defend the AEW title with his life.
Yeah.
After that, we had a TNT championship / Cody and Shawn Spears video package. Cody talked about the genesis briefly. The TNT title says it's something that the network wanted. And he asked, how rare is that the network will ask for a new belt to be birthed into existence? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't recall there being a TNT title or a TBS title back in the day.
Nor do I. But they had 2 packages for Cody and Shawn Spears. They're both really good.
Yeah, they were good stuff. Yeah.
They're really good. And then we had Best Friends versus Best Friends. Air quotes with Best Friends. Early on, this is when Jericho made said, he walked down the ring with a fork and a bunch of other stuff in his gear, and he said, I'll pull out a fork and cut a bitch.
I appreciate that Shawn Spears was ringside scouting Michael Nakazawa in like the most belligerent way possible. He was like, I'm still on the search. Get rid of that body oil. What are you going to do with that? Get rid of that body oil.
You can tell right then that Shawn Spears wasn't winning the main event. His mind's preoccupied with something else.
Because he had no juice going into the day, man. Nakazawa didn't pan out for him.
He's got a huge match at the main event. He should be backstage watching tape on Cody, not trying to recruit a tag partner.
There's all different kinds of ways to lose your juice, man.
Yeah. So early on, Nakazawa and Trent having to chop off. Nakazawa gets the baby oil. puts it all over his chest. So Trent tries to chop him, and his hand just slides right off.
Yeah. So there is a weakness to the chop, and it's baby oil.
I guess so. Later on, Nakazawa also takes the baby oil while Trent is kind of crouched on the top rope, rubs the baby oil on the top rope, and slides Trent across it back and forth. In commentary, I think it was Tony that had to say that it was called the hentai slide.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. Later on, I don't know if Kenny and Nakazawa are writing down the names of some of these moves, or how many of these were on the fly made up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But like later on, Chuck drop toe holds Nakazawa into Kenny's front area, and then Jericho and Tony had a name for it right away. Like Tony says, "What's that one called again?" And Jericho had a name for it. So who knows?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was Jericho improvising, or if he actually had the name written down. I don't know. I just like when Jericho popped when Nakazawa went for a double clothesline and he whiffed on both of them, because like he comes off the ropes and he tries to do the flying double clothesline thing to Trent and Chuck, and they're like too far away and his arms aren't long enough.
Well, no, they sidestep him too.
Yeah, they just sidestep him. And he just lands on, and Jericho, I don't think saw that coming, and he would not stop talking about it.
Yeah. But then Nakazawa gets up and squirts oil in Trent and Chuck's eyes.
Yeah.
This brings Orange Cassidy in the ring. Nakazawa tosses Trent and Chuck out. Sorry. Sunglasses. Sorry. Nakazawa takes his sunglasses off, tosses him out of the ring.
He squirts him in the face first, but he's not affected because he has the sunglasses on. And he's like, dang it. So he takes and he throws them. Meanwhile, Orange Cassidy's putting on another pair of sunglasses.
Yeah. And then Cassidy takes out Kenny with a suicide dive. Later on, Kenny goes on a run. Snapdragon on Trent, charges Chuck. Chuck hits him with a knee. Trent follows the Shining Wizard. Chuck hits a pop-up powerbomb. Nakazawa's in to break up that pin. Omega and Nakazawa have the upper hand. They hit like a Doomsday Spear type thing on Trent. Chuck breaks that up. And that's when Nakazawa pulls off his thong, shoves it in Trent's face.
Jericho endlessly loved that too, yeah.
Kenny hits a V-trigger. They go for the cover. Chuck breaks that up. And then there's a sequence where Kenny accidentally gets the thong in his face.
Yeah.
Trent then hits Nakazawa with the pile driver. Nakazawa kicks that out. Chuck then tosses Kenny into the barricade. Best Friends hit Strong Zero for the win and to keep the name Best Friends. And then afterwards, they all hug.
Yeah, but earlier in the match, when Orange Cassidy was in the ring, Nakazawa and Kenny try to do the group hug with Orange Cassidy, but he moves out of the way just in time, and they miss it, and they're both mad at him because they're like, we want to hug you too.
Yeah.
And so they get to do that at the very end. I thought, man, that was such a fun match. That stuff is so clever, and I don't know, man. Comedy's not easy to do, I would imagine. I would probably the same in movies and stuff, how comedy sometimes can be more difficult than drama.
Next, we had another Brodie Lee / Mr. McMahon video package. So he rolls up at some place in a Mercedes-Benz SUV, walks up to a trio of creepers, two dressed in the usual Under Armour stuff. The other one had a tie on.
Yeah.
And so he goes and berates the two who aren't dressed up, says perception equals reality. And he says, what's the perception of you guys when they walk through the airport? Is it power? Is it wealth? He said he's there to make every life he touches extraordinary. Next stop on the highway reads unlimited power and limited success. And if you're not with it, you got to get off.
Yeah.
And then tells it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He tells the two bum creepers to get their act together. And then he looks at the guy in the tie and he says, here, I've got an opportunity for you. Come with me. Yeah. I like that, especially one of the bum creepers. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but his track jacket or his tracksuit or whatever was exceptionally wrinkled. Oh, it's like he took it out of the dryer and put it under all the clothes just for this sequence because it was super wrinkly too.
Yeah, it was
he
pretty
great.
Great.
They're gonna think that you're just like one of them. Yeah, that was good stuff. That was really good.
It was good stuff. Really good stuff. Next, the Britt Baker interview we talked about a little bit already, where she just turns, everything around on the fact that she's a dentist.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
Another Mox Hager video package, not as good as the first one. Actually covered a lot of the same ground.
Yeah,
largely superfluous, but they're really hyping this match, and hopefully it's good. It's empty arena, no holes barred, assuming they can go anywhere they want. Hopefully it's fun.
Yeah, it should be a fun match.
After that, we had a Matt Hardy promo from the Hardy compound. He's responding to Jericho, who insulted the elite. And he says, let's take a look at the circle that is internal.
Yeah.
Calls Sammy a false god. About proud and powerful. He says he loves Puerto Rican food, and he says he wants to take a bite out of them. He says Jericho, Hager is a really intelligent, well-spoken person. You've turned him into Jakenstein. All you need is a little bolts on the neck.
Yeah.
Transformation. He calls for Vanguard 1 to bring him the Inner Circle shirt. Vanguard brings over a new Matt Hardy shirt. Matt Hardy puts him over for that, but he still wanted the other shirt. Vanguard 1 says he didn't bring it because that shirt is fire. And Hardy's like, what? And Vanguard 1 says, yeah, dumpster fire. And they cut to like a fire pit, and it's on fire in there. Matt Hardy says the Inner Circle will be broken. He'll delete them, and then he challenges the Inner Circle to face him at the compound for the elite deletion.
That should be fun, man. That should be wild. That should be off the hook. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yep. Maybe that's what I. Go ahead.
Seems like the kind of thing they could just do, during all this empty arena stuff.
Exactly. And maybe it's the thing where they realize, okay, we're not going to be able to do blood and guts for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Let's give the viewing audience something special in the interim.
Sure. Yeah. I've been entertained with, they have found ways to still make AEW feel consequential throughout all this.
I feel like there's pushing ahead with the stories they would have told regardless.
Yeah, I think that they, or if they've been calling, if they've had to refigure their game plan, they have done so, in a pretty damn impressive way. After that, we had Lee Johnson making his AEW Dynamite debut against Brodie Lee, and so you know what this was going to be. This was a little bit longer of a match than the Lance Archer one earlier.
Not by much, though.
Not by much. It was still a squash match.
Brodie Lee beats him with the discus lariat, and then he seems to have, he was staring at Marco's stunt a lot.
Yeah, he was staring at Marco's stunt. This was kind of interesting because he's looking at him, and after he looks at him for a second, Marco just sort of awkwardly waves at him, and Jericho's like, "Don't wave at him. Just look away, look down." And I wonder if that's some direction that Jericho sort of let out as kind of real, because I'm not sure if you should be awkwardly waving at somebody who's supposed to be massively intimidating.
But also, this is what the Dark Order does.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe
they do the hand thing.
Maybe Marco's in, man. Maybe Marco's in.
Maybe that's why he did it. I don't know. Anyways, after that, we had the second of two Spears Cody video packages. And then we got our main event, Shawn Spears versus Cody. This was a fun match. It just had a really weird finish. They had some cool bumps. The guardrail spot was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, so talk about the finish then, because it was a good match. Like you said, there was one bit where they had a guardrail set up on the outside and there was a suplex into it. It was all good stuff. Cody ended up winning. He put at a certain point, Shawn Spears kicked out of a double crossroads.
Yeah, two crossroads. This was after. No, so let's go back a little bit. Spears set up a table ringside. Sorry, Cody set up a table ringside.
Yeah, the table
Spears
spot too, yeah.
Dumps Cody through that with a Death Valley driver out of the ring through the table. Cody beats the 10 count. And Spears, and Jericho did a good job selling this. Jericho was yelling at Spears, "Get on him, get on him, get on him." Instead, Spears was just upset that he didn't get the count out win. He was slamming his fists on the mat rather than attacking Cody. Eventually picks up Cody, talks some trash, slaps him. Cody slaps him back. Spears goes for DVD. Cody escapes that, hits two crossroads. Spears kicks out. And then Cody locks in a figure four. And rather than doing a tap out, rather than doing a pass out win for Cody, you had Spears on the mat doing this.
Yeah.
Like jazz hands.
Well, ooh, this hurts. Ooh, this hurts.
I get the point.
Yeah.
But even in pain, if you have enough fortitude to do this, this seems not that far removed. You know what I mean?
So I think
moving
one
a shoulder
thing,
up.
So Jericho called this right. He says, "I've never seen anybody get pinned by the figure four before." I for one, I really, really appreciate that Cody, that everybody's thing seems to be, we can't give them the heat of a crowd. Let's try to get inventive. Let's try to get interesting.
Listen, I appreciate that. And maybe it was the sell of it where you had Spears doing this.
Yeah.
If you have some mobility in the upper body, just lift your shoulder up a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, though. If he's got too much pride to tap, and if he's not passing out due to pain, maybe his thing is, I'll just sit here and see what happens. I kind of get that.
And here's another thing too that kind of bugged me about it. It wasn't as if Cody was attacking the leg throughout the match.
Oh yeah, yeah, but
but like if Cody had made a point of attacking the leg throughout the match, and that was an obvious weak spot for Spears, it might have made more sense in my mind to say he just slaps on a figure four, and suddenly it was the most painful thing Shawn Spears had ever experienced.
He brought the knee pad down. He took the knee pad off.
Look, I appreciate they tried something new. It just seemed weird to me.
It was definitely weird. I'll give you that.
It was weird.
But you know what, man? I'd rather something weird than just pin him on a double crossroads. I really like that they had Shawn Spears kick out.
No, I like that too. I like that too.
So it was, it was odd. But I don't know. I'll always take odd.
Our Lopez Ortiz here in chat says Flair used to pin people all the time in the 80s with the figure four. But maybe there's another thing too, where like Shawn was in it, 20 seconds, not even that, 20 seconds before he got pinned. Like try to fight.
Yeah.
I know they're already going over, but try to fight or something.
Here's a really stupid question.
Okay.
Did Dusty really used to employ the figure four?
You're asking the wrong dude.
Okay. I didn't know, because that might have been something really obvious. Because Jericho said, his dad used to win championships all over the place with a figure four. And I'm like, is he making a crack? Like, obviously mistaking one for the other, jokingly saying something like that. I don't know. And Shivani was like going along with it, maybe just to go along with it. But I don't know. I didn't know if that was a crack. Or if I was missing something, or if Dusty actually used to use a figure four, but that seemed weird.
I'm obviously aware of Dusty's legacy and whatnot, but I've only seen like a handful of his matches.
Yeah, right.
That's that period of wrestling, the late '70s. Like I really did firsthand verse myself in a lot more.
All right, maybe somebody in chat will know. Speaking of which, let's answer some questions. We have a couple of highlighted questions here. We also have a thread up on our Patreon at patreon.com/Steven Larson. We have a bunch of bonus content over there. Today we uploaded, what is today? Wednesday? What do we do today? Oh, it's like we did quiz prep. Quiz prep for the Quizzlemania, which, some of that might have worked. Got you third place. Owen says, who is the next this is the most popular question for AEW reviews. Who's the next WWE superstar you see moving to AEW? Say yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Revival.
Scary Brady. I already kind of wiped my memory of them in WWE out of my mind, because that was a thing on Quizzlemania today, is who did the New Day beat for the tag titles? And I said, I don't know, Rude Ziggler? I think they were only tag champs on Raw, and it was Revival.
Once you start, when he said the order of the SmackDown tag champions.
Yeah, that was tough.
I was like, the New Day have had those things how many times? The Usos have had them how many times? Man.
Yeah. Got a new sub here, Scary Brady. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dang MQ, what should AEW do once their taped shows run out in late May? Hopefully tape more shows.
PNW PDX, thank you for the sub. Dang MQ, Bellator has canceled all events until June. And then Jay Molina in here says Lashley was TNA champ while fighting in Bellator. So that's unprecedented.
Hey, he was legit too.
Yeah, he was. Still is.
Yeah. Let's see here. Going in Raw co-host Brian Luckman, B Money as I call him. Do you have a fear that the broken Matt Hardy gimmick may become stale due to a large part of the audience, or is Matt smart enough to keep it fresh and new? I think that it'll be fine as long as he seems like a very creative guy, and the reason he left WWE is because he still has a lot to offer in his own mind, which I think means he's got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that I think it'll be fine. I don't think they're going to do it on a weekly basis.
Scott Hill Jr. over on the Patreon. Hey, friendos, do you guys think that TNA title will be overshadowed by the AEW World Championship, or do you think it could turn into a workhorse championship? Thanks, guys.
I don't see it being overshadowed by anything. Look, man, so far, I have come to give AEW the benefit of the doubt with pretty much everything. Like, since the beginning of this year, dude, it's been 4+ months. And they've been killing it. They really have been. January, February, March, April. Well, it's been 3+ months. they've been doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, man.
So I give them the benefit of the doubt on that stuff.
Yeah. James Fletcher, what year am I living in when the best wrestlers are Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho? Did I wake up in the 90s? Also, this is more of a statement than a question. Also, Jericho called the red bit in Matt's hair sassy a few weeks ago. Yeah, Jericho's been operating at a whole other level. You can just tell when wrestlers are free to be themselves and have fun.
Yeah.
Usually good things happen.
Well, it's interesting, dude, to hear Jericho talk about, I think this was in the podcast with Matt Hardy. It was either the one with Matt or Brodie Lee. And he was talking about getting to New Japan, which was just a couple of years ago. And it being a revelation of freedom for him.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I didn't know it could be like this.
Yep.
And it's like, he probably wishes that he's probably doing everything he can to extend his career even longer so that he can, all these ideas that he might be coming up with now, it's, hey, I can do what I want. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these dudes are in AEW, they're going to be, I hope they don't take it for granted because it ain't like that everywhere.
Yep. Sam Montgomery, hey, friendos, Larson, you performed admirably in Quizzlemania today. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun to watch, and how great was Jericho and commentary the whole night, especially during the Best Friends tag match, Comedy Gold.
Yeah,
that fork line did me in. Minnesota Joe, do you think Chris Jericho is the best in commentary or the greatest? His comments were killing me the whole night.
He's amazing. We got some new patrons also. Sam Schroeder, Tez, Jimmy, and Danny Rand. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it.
Philly Flexer, with Britt Baker killing it with her heel run or heel turn, do you think AEW has a problem building baby faces, women baby faces, or just not the right one on the roster yet?
I think that they've done a decent job with Statlander. And she
did a good job with Riho, too.
And she doesn't even do all that much. Yeah.
Thomas Dunnigan, TNT Championship is an apt name since the weekly show is called Dynamite. What other terms for explosions or bombs could AEW use for future belts? Oh, the hardcore title, make it the C4 belt.
Oh, that's good.
What Sean Spears calls his DVD, but still.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know. What's some other, H-bomb, A-bomb?
Napalm.
The blast radius. That sounds more like a finishing move.
Yeah, it does sound like a finishing move as opposed to a belt. Glamorous Jar, you guys going to review the Brawl for All Dark Side of the Ring? I feel like every episode keeps getting better and better. That's the plan. I'm going to watch it tomorrow probably. Yeah,
I'm totally going to watch that thing. We're going to review it, yeah.
Yes. Fear and Loath and seeing you did trivia today. What game show would you volunteer Steve for? It doesn't exist anymore, but there was one called Press Your Luck back in the 80s. You recall Press Your Luck?
I remember the name. I don't remember. What was the premise?
It had like a thing. It wasn't a wheel per se, but there were squares.
Mm-hmm.
It had like a frame around the contestant, 4x3 aspect ratio, like the TV screen.
Sure.
And so there'd be a thing that would go over these individual squares, and there'd be whammies. You don't want to hit a whammy because whammy takes all your money.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Okay.
And so it'd go around, you go, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy, stop. And when it stopped, you hope it was on money or a prize or something and not a whammy.
Mm-hmm.
And they had little animated things for when the whammies showed up that did stuff. So it'd be Press Your Luck.
What is this? There was a scandal of some sort in 1984.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's interesting. Unemployed ice cream truck driver Michael Larson. Wow, interesting. Another Larson. Wow. He won $110,000 in a seemingly random fashion. Let's see here. He technically didn't break any rules. Let's see here.
Then what's the scandal?
Okay, so wow, here it is. It'll forever be remembered in game show annals for Larson, who subsequently revealed the secret to his astonishing victory. He'd spent the previous year studying Press Your Luck episodes on his VCR, memorizing the game board's 5 cash-winning patterns. That just sounds like he was doing his due diligence.
Yeah, that sounds like he was just, yeah.
They let him keep the money. I would freaking hope so.
If he's not breaking into, if he's just doing his prep work and not cheating, then there's no wrongdoing there.
Heck yeah, man.
Marcus Steele, who do you think will win the TNT tournament? Also, who do you think should win?
Isn't that weird that dude had your name?
I mean, it's not like an uncommon last name.
Yeah, but still, like, you bring up that name, then I look it up. The first thing I see is the dude with your name.
It's serendipitous, man. There's no correlation there.
I'm not saying it's like, divine intervention. I'm just saying it's weird.
Who do you think is going to win the TNT title and who should win?
Oh, Lance Archer's gonna win, and he should win.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the yeah, yeah. And it's gonna be he's gonna murder Cody. I think he's gonna completely annihilate. It's gonna be embarrassing. Cody. Here's the thing about Cody. He keeps on talking about how good his record is. He keeps on talking about that.
I know.
He's gonna get his ass whooped.
Yep. Diehard Homer Jake Hager as the Ricky Bobby of AEW is a genius idea. He goes to his wife, Shake and Bake.
Shake and bake, man.
Dangam Q.
El Diablo and the Magic Man.
There's a new version of Press Your Luck on ABC last year, hosted by Elizabeth Banks. Not sure if it's coming back. No, that's the Enterprise from the 80s that I wanted to stay in the 80s. It was a fun show in the 80s.
Man, have you ever watched the Buzzer channel?
No.
It's BUZZR. So this is because you don't have over the air TV. And it's one of those deep cut over the air TV channels, and it's all game shows from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, is Match Game on there?
Probably. I haven't watched in a while.
Match Game is so much fun.
Oh man, I love that stuff.
It used to show reruns of that on the Game Show Network.
Going in Raw co-host Brian Luckman, sorry, B Money says, "When did you coin me with the nickname B Money? You were here. Just happened."
Mean Green 49, using any pro wrestlers from any promotion, come up with the 2 to 3 person commentary dream team you guys would want.
To do commentary for what? We're just doing a dream team commentary.
Commentary dream team.
JR, Heyman, and Heenan.
All right. I'll see if I can help with something that I don't use any of those individuals.
Okay.
Gorilla Monsoon.
Okay.
Because he was really good. Taz.
Oh.
And Kevin Kelly.
Oh, you know what I should have gone with? My B team would be Kevin Kelly, Steve Corino, and you know what I would do? I'd bring in both of Kevin Kelly's recent New Japan partners. I'd have Steve Corino and Don Callis.
The Captain Sin, if you could book 3 WWE versus AEW matches, who would you pick? Cody versus Triple H.
Okay.
Kenny versus AJ.
Yeah.
And then what's the last one?
It's my phone. Oh, there's a good one. So I'd get Darby Allin, but I'd have him face Rey Mysterio.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Oh, Ryan Luckman says Young Bucks versus New Day.
Yeah, it's a good one too. We already saw that though in video game form.
Yeah, but not in ring.
Even though only 2 of the participants really cared about that.
Yeah, I know.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's call it a day, dude.
All right, very well.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, probably around noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, for our NXT review. Or maybe we'll do it like 11 noon. What makes sense for you?
We can aim for 11.
We'll aim for 11, maybe like 11:30.
How quick I can start watching it.
Okay, cool. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.